Welcome to another episode of the ACRN Health Podcast. I'm your host, Wilfred Gurupira. And today we have a very special episode where we want to talk about an important milestone in ACRN's history. And this is the IDRL CAP accreditation. Now, for those who may not know, CAP stands for College of American Pathologists. This institution, the accreditation is considered the gold standard in lab quality worldwide. And to have an African research lab pursue and achieve this level of recognition is quite a big deal. It takes many years of preparation, discipline and systems building, and a long-term commitment to meeting international standards. So I'm sitting down with a team that was behind this most significant milestone for the ACRN today. So welcome to another episode of the ACRN Health Podcast, and I'm your host, Wilfred T. Today we have a very special episode. We are sitting with a team behind one of the most significant milestones in the organization's history. And this is our lab's journey towards accreditation. So normally what I do is I introduce the guests, but today, because it's a special day, it's their day, I'll allow them to introduce themselves. So please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Wilfred. My name is Denise Chowawa. Working at IDRL, obviously, as the associate scientist. I have about 8 years experience working in a medical diagnostic space, specializing in all things to do with diagnostics, that's your microbiology, histology, etc. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Denise. Over to you.
Thank you, Wilfred. My name is Takudzwa Magwaku. I'm the laboratory manager at Infectious Diseases Research Lab, IDRL. I have about 5 years experience in the medical lab space, and I have a background in biochemistry and biotechnology. Thank you.
Thanks. And finally.
Thank you, Wilfred. My name is Marvellous Fende. I'm the medical lab scientist. I'm the quality officer at IDRL. Well, I'm very passionate about quality management systems. I think I've spent the great part of my career in QMS, which I think today it's about 12 years now. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. And maybe to start and to give our viewers and listeners a perspective, I'll start with you, Taku. What is IDRL and what is its link with ACRN?
Thank you, Wilfred. So IDRL is a Biosafety Level 2. I guess in the world of medical lab sciences, those who understand what Biosafety levels, what it means to say Biosafety levels. But it's a Biosafety Level 2 lab, which has been in existence since 2012. So I'll say it's been in existence for 14 years now.
Yes.
And it has been involved in infectious diseases research across different infectious diseases. And in terms of ACRN, it is a research lab for ACRN. And also, just to add on, IDRL is also a diagnostic lab. So it has both diagnostic and research lab services.
Okay. So maybe you talked about Biosafety Level 2. What's the highest, or is that the highest?
No, that's not the highest.
There's something higher.
There's something much higher. I think we get to up, but Biosafety Level 4.
Level 4. Okay, so we're up there. This is great.
Yeah, so we're halfway there.
Okay, so I want to come to the issue that we're discussing today, which is accreditation. I mean, Marvellous, I want to come to you. What is this accreditation that we're talking about, and why is it such a big deal?
Okay. So accreditation, this is a big deal considering that it's a CAPE accreditation. So CAPE is College of American Pathologists. This is one of the most rigorous application bodies throughout the whole world. So when it comes to Africa, there's just about 2 countries which are going for accreditation for CAPE. So when you talk about CAPE, it's a very rigorous process. They come in, They look at everything that you do, writing from sample reception, how you handle your samples, how you process your samples, up until you release your results. They look at everything that you're going to be doing. So it's going to be actually a very rigorous process that they assess how you perform your test, and then they give you an accreditation status.
Okay. So the accreditation, we can say it shows or demonstrates your capability at that level.
Yeah, it does. So at the definition of accreditation, it brings also the aspects of competence.
Okay.
Of competence. So it's a way of showing how competent our staff are. So when you're accredited, it shows that the lab is very competent. So it also gives an aspect of confidence to say when the assessors come and assess you and they say that you are accredited, it shows that they put confidence in the work that you do.
Right.
They have trust in you. So they can say, they can separate trust to say, oh, okay, I can get my samples tested at IDRL because you've shown that competence and you've demonstrated that ability to perform the test as expected.
Wonderful. So I want to come back to you, Taku. You said IDRL has been around from 2012, but accreditation is happening now. And person may wonder, why it took so long. But I'm sure there is a story behind that journey. If you can just take us through that journey and even some of the early days, what did they look like?
So, IDRL has been around for almost 14 years, and the vision of accreditation has always been there. As the lab was growing, as the trajectory was happening, all the different studies, from the low level kind of studies, clinical research, and going up clinical trials, you then understand that, the level of quality and the level of output that you need to go out there and say, we have done this research. It is to have the evidence as well. And this is what this accreditation speaks to. So for IDRL in 2024, that's where the decision was made to say, I think we are going to go amongst all the other accreditation boards. We are going to pick this accreditation board. But the outstanding thing about CAP, which I think made us decide this, was because CAP does not allow you to select a department to accredit. So you find that most African labs that are accredited, they decide to be accredited in the chemistry department, the hematology department, the molecular department. But with CAP, they do not allow you to do that. You have to accredit every part of the lab. So you can imagine the amount of work that went into preparing each and every department that is in the lab. You do not have to choose. You don't have the platform to choose. You actually just have to make sure each and every process in the lab is following the CAP standards.
So 2024 is when the decision is made. We're in 2026. What happened in between that time?
What happened was a lot of work. That's the best way I can say it. Accreditation is a process. I guess the application, we can say we put in our application in 2024, but the 2 years that followed up to 2026, it was a lot of work, a lot of dedication. The assessments, the competence assessments that Marvellous was speaking about, the equipment, making sure that the equipment is the right equipment, is it validated? The processes themselves in the lab, are they following the standards? Are they meeting the CAP standards? And above all, the major project that happened was the infrastructure.
Yes.
We had to change everything. We had to build a lab from scratch just to meet the CAP standards, because we realized we were falling short from what the structure was before, and we had to meet those international standards.
So Marvellous, going back to you, this is fully within your what you do. Walk us through what a system, a quality management system that is ready for CAP accreditation. Walk us, what does that system look like?
Okay, so for you to be accredited, you need to have a very robust quality management system. So I'll talk about 4 pillars, which are very key to say that you may probably establish quality in your system. So I'll start with document control. So whatever you do, you need to put in just to document it. You need to document what you do, and you say what you do. So the thing with accreditation, so when the assessors do visitors, that's what they'll be looking out to see. Are you doing what you have documented? Or sometimes the legs they do have attendees to document what they want to do, but they don't really actually do it. So it's not just about the paperwork that is there, but it's actually practice to say, are they doing what they've documented? So when you talk about document control, we also need to have everything properly documented, right up from the policies the quality policy manual, the laboratory handbooks, the SOP, standard operating procedures, all the little templates that you have. You also need to be controlled. You also need to know who has generated that, who has developed that particular procedure, who has read that particular document. So we also need to show all the evidence of the lifestyle of that document, the history of that document, who generated, who has reviewed, who has approved, and who has actually read the document, that document that you about. So that is the backbone of your quality management system. Moving on to a very key area is also the non-conformance management. How you do manage your non-conformances. So the thing is, things do happen in the lab. So there will be errors, because they're working with gamers. There will be errors. Probably one result will be delayed, something happens. But what is very important in terms to quality management system is the lab able to pick its own errors and be able to come up with the root cause analysis, which actually pinpoints to say, why do we have this problem? And when they do that, they're also able to come up with a corrective action to say, okay, we have this problem, it's emanating from this particular root cause. So we now need to come up with measures to ensure that we correct it. And it goes beyond just correction of image. We also need to put preventive measures to say in future, this is not going to happen. So that's the second thing. The third thing is also, which is very key, like we've been mentioning in the definition of accreditation, is the competence assessment. We need to have people who are competent. So accreditation, like I was saying, it's how you demonstrate you're able to carry out a particular test. You put that demonstrated ability to say, yeah, you're confident that this result that you're producing, the TB positive, that person is look at the microscope and see the TB. Is actually competent, is able to identify, see the TB. So this is very key. QMS, you also need to have people who are properly trained. They have been properly, they did their competence assessment. Someone comes in, assess to see, is the person able to carry out the competence assessment as expected. So those are the three pillars of that are important in QMS. And lastly, very important is also the self-inspection. You also need to really look at your quality management system as your own self to say, do you have all the documents, do you have all the people deemed competent, are the competence records okay, is non-conformity management being properly done? And we also need to have that self-inspection, which is very, very key. Because considering when we look at CAPE accreditation, it goes beyond just the ISO 151 standards. They have their own CAPE checklist that they develop, and they also want us to see if we meet their own requirements. And when you're doing a self-inspection, you're actually looking at this is the requirement from CAPE. What do you have in place? What evidence do you have? There's a little bit of a gap, which you address it, and then have your system be viewed properly. So yeah, in a nutshell, there are all other things that we talk about, but those are the key four pillars that I can mention at this point.
And I'll come back to you, but Denise, I haven't forgotten about you. So Taku mentioned that sort of building, the lab, this whole process, and Marvellous has done a wonderful job to kind of give us an overview in quality management system. But I want to make it a bit more practical, the day-to-day. What does it actually mean? Because a lot of what you spoke about to me sounds like it is, that's what I'm expecting. It's quite in and out. But on a day-to-day, you're on the bench. What does this actually mean? And, the quality management systems that is describing on a day-to-day, on the bench, how does that play out? Can you walk us through that?
Okay, so what it does is that it removes that mentality that you can never do a plug and play with a machine. Okay, where you just a machine and then you just run it. It means that there's a whole element of quality that you're now infusing on a day-to-day basis. For an example, Taku did mention a little bit on verification and validations of machines. It means that all our assets, we've made sure that we've verified what the manufacturer claims about that machine. Okay. We're not just getting a machine from whoever and then just saying, this machine can run chemistry and then just use it. We even go now a step further in doing our controls as per necessity. Daily, weekly, whatever the necessity is based on that machine or that instrument that we're using. And these controls are literally a control is just checking that, is my machine in the correct check? Will my machine really reproduce exactly that is the condition of the patient? So we run these now as the necessity. We also verify this machine these controls, and we make sure that they're reviewed every day. So there's literally a check and balance on everything that we do now in terms of controls and quality. And then we come to issues to do with EQA. So we need to understand that EQA, sorry, you would have your
Yes, I was going to ask you. What is that?
So EQA is external quality assurance.
Okay.
This is from when you break down the word external quality assessment, is literally is getting an external body, bringing in a sample that you don't know the value, and then you are running it.
Okay.
Yeah. So they would then do a comparison of what is expected and what you've got.
Okay.
So for us, it was a bit rigorous because we're not just using any we're actually not just using any external external assessment body. We're using CAP.
Okay.
Yeah. So CAP, meaning to say that CAP has been monitoring throughout how we run our samples in a day-to-day, because they already have a check to understand that if we had to give them a hematology sample, they can reproduce what is expected. So those are some of the checks. There's another check that we have. And then we come to sample handling in itself.
Okay.
It means that there's a very important aspect of the lab that is the pre-analytical aspect.
Okay.
Where, we are not the ones that bleed these samples. We're getting the samples from nurses, from doctors, etc., etc. So on a day-to-day, we're no longer ignoring minor things in terms of our sample handling. That is to say, when a sample is brought to a lab and then there are particular temperatures that is supposed to come to the lab,
okay,
we now check it to the T
to say,
is it within that range, because we now know or understand that minor change in temperature will affect the results completely throughout the whole cycle. So it's really on a day-to-day, we are now more well-rounded, and we understand the importance of accuracy and little checks, right? So that we know that our results are reproducible. They are, a good standard that can be of a good standard. Yeah.
Sounds like you guys just got more thorough. If you were thorough before. But walk me through. So I'm still with you, Denise. The CAP inspectors, accreditors, what do you call them? Inspectors.
We had
Inspectors. They are here. They are at your door, so to speak. What's that feeling like? What's that experience like? Because we also want to take people through kind of what it actually feels like, because it sounds like CAP is a big deal. It is, right? Yeah. So what does it feel like? They're finally there. It's 2 years post the application. What's the experience?
Have you ever been in a moment where where the environment is tense, but you have to be calm? That's exactly what it's about that day. You're running a lot of things in your mind, but you have to be calm.
Okay.
Because like what Tammy said, CAP is not a scope-based inspection. It's a well-rounded inspection of everything. So you're not sure what they're going to pick. Okay. Yeah, you're not sure where they're going to ride on. But on that day, really, in as much as it was tense, it just started off as, we knew that our first protocol is to walk them to the lab so that they see, because these are people who don't, the laboratory was actually their first time in Zimbabwe, so they didn't know what to expect as well. Yeah. So we had to walk them through the lab so that they understand what instruments we have in place, safety measures that we have put in place in our lab. This is as well as how the infrastructure is like, the setup, how we have departmentalized the lab, etc. And then moved on to the big part, which is them looking into our documentation.
Okay.
Yeah. Where we had to actually really prove what we claim.
Yes.
So we're just proving what we claiming. Like, okay, you've seen this machine, and we say this is what we do with this machine. So our documentation was supposed to just match exactly what we are finding. Yeah.
Okay. So this is for you, or talking to you, Tom. What? Surely you're proud. I mean, this is 2024, 2026. They're there. The inspection is happening. I want to presume you're proud.
I am.
Well, you are now, but then was it pride that came through? What your experience? What was it? Or you nervous? Nervous excitement.
It's satisfying to say you're in a tense situation, but you have to remain calm. So I tell you, it was a nervous moment, but at the same time, it was a very proud moment to say we have come this far. And I think we looked at how much we had prepared.
Okay.
The 2 years, it was very intense, and you can imagine, given the first quarter of this year, 2026, as we're preparing now for the final stroke.
Yes.
There was so much intense preparation, but the nervousness is, have I done enough?
Oh.
Have I prepared enough? Am I okay? Am I okay to stand tall and say, yes, we have done this? But I tell you, the proud moments for me were, because these inspectors do not even want to talk to me, the lab manager, because they know I do have the answers. I do have the answers personally for everything. But they want to talk to the scientists, the people who are actually on the bench. They want to talk to the people who are processing these samples to say, okay, because they're holding the SOP, they are seeing everything, but they want to hear them speaking about it.
Yes.
And I was so proud to hear even the people in specimen reception answering to those questions clearly, confidently, and accurately. Because you may be accurate, but you may be confident, but not accurate. But they were really accurate that even the inspectors came back to me and said, wow, your team they know their things. Because sometimes you find that the management, they are so much involved in developing these SOPs, putting the evidence in place, but not the team behind them. So it really showed that, we were prepared because everyone was in the mood, in as much as we were nervous, but at the end, we came out proud.
Oh, man. So, so you also nervous?
Yeah.
So there's nerves all around. So I'm going to come to you, Marvellous, which is what I think everyone wants to know. Okay, so you're nervous. You've prepared for 2 years. What did they say? What did they finally conclude?
Okay. I will say it in one sentence and of course it be. So they said you are now recommended for accreditation, which I think we need to let sink in. Because this is something we've been preparing for. And it's a lot of work. And you know that these people, they're coming from America. They're not familiar with what we are doing. The expedition is even much higher than all the other bodies that you can think of. For them to say that you've been recommended for accreditation, that was a good moment for us, a proud moment for us. So yeah, we did got our recommendation for accreditation. They give us a time period, a time frame to say they picked a couple of things that we certain deficiencies that they want us to relocate and investigate and come up with certain evidences, come up with adjust certain procedures actually not really and up to par with the expectations. So they gave us a time period of about 30 days soon after the audit, and then 45 days after that they issue out the certificate. So this is where we are at the moment. We got our recommendation for accreditation. We've already agreed upon the non-conformance that they raised. We've investigated everything, we've generated all the evidence. You've adjusted so many SOPs that we have done it. Everyone is through and everything is okay. So we submitted all those deficiencies in the response today. So it's now up to them for they're in the 45-day period for us for them to give us a period for them to issue out that accreditation certificate. Wow. So this is where we are.
Wonderful news. I don't know, do you say congratulations? It sounds like it's not enough. for all the work that was done, it doesn't sound, but it has to be said. Congratulations to you and the lab team for that. One of the reasons why we bring these stories to the fore and we tell them, particularly going through the experiences, sometimes when people see that it has been done, they think it's easy. They think you applied in January of 2026
by June you had your accreditation, and then it's been years in the making. But I want to come to you to say, okay, so you're recommended for accreditation. What does that mean now for IDRL in particular, but even the broader landscape of clinical research?
So I think for IDRL and for ACRN as a whole, we walk with our heads up high. Because you can imagine now going to present our data in other spaces, even with other institutions we collaborate with. There's confidence in the work that we are now going out there with. And the results that we produce, people have confidence in them. For so long, I think in Africa, we usually just even send samples out there to be processed by other people for us, and then they give us those results because we don't have confidence in our own systems, and we haven't gone through this process of accreditation. But I think in clinical research, we are actually now having to be in spaces where people can confidently say, oh, there is a lab in Zimbabwe we can work with. Sponsors can actually be able to confidently give us these projects that we are working on and work with us saying, yes, we know the results that we're going to get from there. They are traceable, they are accurate, and they're of high quality. And we can be competitive now. In the world, we are very competitive now. Because anyway, if you talk about accreditation and even CAPE accreditation itself, you can put yourself on the shoulder.
I like that.
Think about it.
Great. So, from your perspective, Denise, what does this mean, and what opportunities does this open, if any?
It really means that our results hold the same weight.
Okay.
In comparison to any country in the world. We can safely say any result you get from IDRL, it can be used to diagnose a patient in Hong Kong. That's how big it is, because we have a standard in place. It also means that for clinical trials as well, because we do have the research aspect, means our data is reliable and is accurate. It's a message to the sponsors to say, okay, what you're getting from IDRL is correct and the data is reliable. There are no shortcuts, there's no misinterpretation. The data is good. Yeah. Also, it's, Tapu mentioned it a little bit, it means that we stop sending our samples elsewhere for them to run on our behalf. We are now the reference point.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We're now the reference point. We're now the standard. We're now the reference point. We can collaborate with other labs in Zimbabwe or even abroad.
There's something I meant to ask. One of you can take this. So the CAP accreditation is the lab. Are you individually CAP accredited? Does that come with?
No.
It doesn't. It would be nice though. Okay.
I don't think the board themselves, and maybe they should think about
think
that.
about it. Yeah.
But then one thing that I can maybe bring up is after the accreditation, the inspectors that actually said, because this accreditation, the accreditation inspectors, these are people who are coming from CAPE accredited labs.
Okay.
These are lab directors and peers of CAPE accredited labs. So they will actually say, this is how we as people who are also peers who are going to come and do accreditation for other labs. So you can actually then register your own people to be part of the inspector's crew.
Right.
Because they are coming from a CAPE accredited lab. So you can imagine it's coming from someone who is actually doing the work themselves to go and inspect another lab than just an inspector who is prepared for accreditation inspection.
Yeah. So I asked that because I want to claim that. So what I do? I kind of take on the persona of my guest. So I'm in the company of greatness. So I'm great myself. I'm CAP accredited. Well, I'm in a CAP accredited lab. So that's. So I wanted to ask you now go to you in turns. I'll start with you, Marvellous. The accreditation process. What are the key takeaways and what are the lessons learned from your perspective?
Okay, so the lessons learned, I think the most important thing is that it's not just a milestone, it's a process. It's something that you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. It's something that's going to build your culture. It's going to be something for where you think. You're going to be thinking quality in whatever you're going to be doing. You're going to be thinking of how good you're going to be in anything that you do. Your cureness is it good enough? So it goes to the culture. It's not just a one-off thing that you get your certificate, you're done with it, but it's something that is continuously improving. Yesterday with this point, the following day were at that point. I'll give an example of maybe the turnaround times. You see, when you got accredited, probably you're looking at 24 hours turnaround time, saying you need 24 hours of waiting and releasing your results. But when it comes to what you have learned from there is there's need to be continuous improvement. You need also to be asking yourself, why 24 hours? Why can't you move it to 18 hours? Why can't you move it down to 8 hours? Why can't you get your results then and there? You know, so this is what then it builds to you to say in everything that you're going to be doing is that need to be continuously improving. So it's just that's how I take it. That's the take home message to say it's just a process, how you learn, how you continuously improve.
Okay. Taku, from your end, key takeaways from the journey. I hope you run marathons because you have the patience for it. But key takeaway, lessons learned.
I think first things first, invest in the right people.
Okay.
And also invest in your people.
Okay.
We had a team of well-trained and well-rounded scientists for this to happen. And once you have that, you're not worried. That's why I say there was a proud moment. For me, the biggest proud moment was the scientists themselves speaking about what they do and being part of this inspection. So that is, I think, the biggest takeaway for me, take-home point for me, that let's invest in our people, because we did invest in our people and it paid off. It really paid off. Secondly, I think quality is not a one-day process. It is an ongoing process. And we did process everything based on the quality standards, but it doesn't stop today. It continues from the day after the inspection left. We maintained that we improved. And Marvellous even said, how do we improve our systems from the basic that we have? How do we become better? And lastly, I think documentation is very important. In the space of laboratories, I think documentation is one of the most important things. If it's not documented, it's not done. So that was also one of the key things. You may document before the inspection and up to the inspection, but after that, continue doing all those things, continue maintaining the quality, continue maintaining the procedures, so that even going forward, people have more confidence in everything that you do. And these inspectors will also come back again to review our work. So when they come back, they want to see how have you been doing from when we left, from the time we recommended the inspection and to now. How did you then improve your processes? So yeah, that's all I would say.
Okay. Turning to you, Denise, you are part of. How does it feel to be part of a team of superstars?
It's so amazing. It's so amazing.
So I'm part of the team too. So I'm a superstar.
You're a superstar.
But just turning to you, what were your key takeaway and lessons learned in this whole process?
I think my biggest key takeaway is that quality standards are important, not for the sake of certification or for the sake of sounding sophisticated, but they're more important to the participant or to the patient, who is the ultimate recipient of the result. It's important in the sense that whatever disease stage that you're diagnosing or whatever prognosis that result is going to be used for, there's confidence and there's reliability in that result. So I think for me, that's the biggest key takeaway, that it's not something that we should ever take for granted, because it's not ours. At the end of the day, it's for those participants and the patients that we're dealing with.
So, We have the CAP accreditation, fantastic system with superstars. Internationally acclaimed and accredited. So we've reached that peak.
Right.
Where do we go? What's next? Now start with you, Takum. You've climbed Mount Everest. You've reached the peak. Now what? What comes next?
So, maintaining accreditation is, I guess, the most important than actually achieving it.
Why? Wait. As hard as it is to get it, you're not saying maintaining it.
Yes.
Is even.
Because you can imagine the expectation.
Yes,
The expectation now is, because we're going out there, we're now in the competition space.
Right.
And we are calling for sponsors and all these different collaborators to say we have an accredited lab. But they are coming to then look at our processes going forward. That's why they're maintaining it is very important. And I think that's the core now than the achievement. We have done the achievement. We have done the part. Now it's the process is going forward. How do we maintain it? How do we become better? How do we compete in the different spaces? Was already the name to say IDRL is kept accredited. That's yes, that's it. But we need to prove that we are of quality with all that we do with these researches that we are doing. The product, the output of these clinical trials right now, it's going to speak to this accreditation. But above all, we are also improving our clinical services as IDRL, because as I mentioned, we are also a diagnostic lab. So we want to expand our clinical services so that we reach out to the different doctors, not only clinical research space, but also the clinical services space, so that doctors can actually access these quality skills that we have. Additionally, we are also strengthening our immunogenetics department, where we're doing HLA typing and also flow cytometry work, because we are mostly centered in immunology techniques.
HLA typing, what is that?
All right.
You went past like the superstar CAP accredited level.
I would say in a nutshell, flow cytometry, HLA typing. If I would say it in a nutshell, these are immunological techniques that are then used to understand disease progression and also how to easily treat diseases. So we're understanding how your body responds to diseases, and then how do we also help other people and even develop vaccines and drugs using those different aspects of immunology. So these are key things that we use to understand the disease progression, response to infection, and so forth. So we are a very strong immunology lab, I can say that, and we want to really strengthen it and even offer it as clinical service, as a clinical service, not only for clinical research, but also for clinical services. Especially for me, people who are doing cancer treatments and so forth. Those are kind of things they would be really interested in. So that's one of the major aspects of what we're trying to do, and also maintaining that accreditation for those immunological aspects. Even though it's mainly now for research, but even in clinical space, you want it to be quality and accredited.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you got the accreditation. You casually treating HLA typing. Coming to you, Marvellous. We have the CAP accreditation. Where do we go?
Yeah, it goes to continuous improvement. We are here. You're always looking at yourself to say, how best can I give me? How can I be more effective in the way that I do my business? It also goes to having a pool of labs that have been accredited. Not just being IDRL, but trying to think of a situation where all the labs are accredited. You've got a referral point. You want to do your validation. You need to compare with someone. If your machine is performing very well, who are you going to go to? for now they'll definitely be coming to
Come-
us.
come-
But the thing is, not just at IDRL, we also need to have that military complex that have been accredited, that have got the accuracy really up there. You know, if you meet, you have inspections like Takudzwa measuring, you're giving someone going to another lab to assess to see how they'll perform. You also need people who are very competent, the people who got that exposure to work in a particular lab that is unaccredited. So yeah, it goes to not just IDRL, but also what the labs also get in the accreditation.
Turning to you, Denise. Yeah, I mean, same question. Where do we go from? And in my mind, I'm thinking, how do superstars get more super?
So yeah, this is now a foundation for us to now advance into more specialized fields. Like Tapu was putting it there in a nutshell, the HLAs, the immunogenetics, advanced molecular diagnostics. We now have a foundation because we have set the precedence to say we can do this.
Okay.
So the superstars can can aim higher. They can aim higher in that sense. We can do it. This was not a base level, but at the level that we were at, we managed to have proven that we're capable. So it means that there's room to do that.
It's like you guys don't have enough work. You want more? That wasn't hard enough. Let's
Imagine the challenges.
so you know, I want to bring this to conversation to a close and just allow you. I'll start with you, Marvellous, just to say some final words, some final thoughts around everything we've been discussing, CAP accreditation, labs, and stuff like that. Any final take-home messages?
Yeah, our accreditation it's a process. You need the teamwork, not just the peer colleagues that should be working with. You need a lot of commitment. This one came to mind. You see, to look at this setup of this whole lab, the resources that have been put into place. You need that management commitment. You need that someone at the top who's standing by you. We need to get this thing done. You need to be on the CAP accreditation. You need to be on the CAP EQA screening. You need that somebody who's there right from the top. You need the teamwork who's looking at same level with you, even those who are your subordinates. You need everyone for you to be able to achieve this accreditation. So it's not just your own thing, but it's the whole team. Everyone is involved. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, Marvellous. Over to you, Denise. You know, final words.
Final words for me, just to say, on a day-to-day basis, you need to have the quality bonds. Your machines need to be up to par. Quality control needs to be done. Your EQAs, they need to be done. There needs to be someone else who verifies what you do outside of yourself. You need to appreciate and be strict on all the processes in the lab, particularly those that you don't actively control, like your sample collection. You need to also be aware of the results that you report, understand your audience per se, but you that the results are ultimately going to help someone. So just make sure that, you know, on a daily basis, if we as we understand those little nuances, we are just having quality in our votes.
I'm curious if someone will do a count how many times Denise said quality. Lastly to you, Saku, you know, final message.
My final message is IDRL, we did it.
Yes.
We are a research lab in Zimbabwe, Harare, and we did it. So I think this is a message to Africa as a whole, that we can do it as Africans. We can put our levels up high as Africans. And I think this is an opportunity, or if there was a platform for me to go and call for other labs,
This is it.
this is an opportunity to say, let's do this as Africans. Let's reach these milestones. Let's push ourselves towards that. And as research labs in the continent, we can bring more research into our own continent and solve our own problems. I think that's the end message that I can give.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You've heard it. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations once again on the team for this milestone achievement. And I hope those who are listening, those who are watching, take up the call. They invest in the teams, the systems, quality. Nickname is quality for me. And I think, thank you all for tuning in. This has been another episode of the ACRN Health Podcast. Until the next time.
Thank you for watching and listening to another episode of the ACRN Health Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this episode widely with your networks, and stay tuned for more conversations. Till the next time.